Okay, picture this. Two very different people walk into a car dealership on the exact same Saturday morning. Our first person, they earn roughly $45,000 a year. But our second person walking into a different dealership across town earns 10 times that. Yep, $450,000 a year. They live on the same planet, sure, but they are operating in completely different financial universes. So in this explainer, we're going to unpack the invisible psychology that's actually driving these two totally distinct realities. Let's dive in.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the paradox. Just look at the contrast. The lower earner is stretching their paycheck super thin to finance a brand new BMW. They've got the fresh sneakers, a designer belt, and they're driving off that lot feeling like an absolute $1,000,000. Even though, let's be real, that monthly payment is going to squeeze them incredibly tight. Meanwhile, the earner making 10 times as much, they are paying cash for a totally modest 5-year-old Toyota Camry. And on the way home, they casually stop to check on a rental property they bought 3 years ago. So the lower earner is actively stretching to perform wealth, while the high earner is, well, almost actively hiding it.
Which brings us to Section 1, Survival Psychology in Disguise. Why bad money habits aren't actually about being stupid.
To really understand our BMW driver, we have to look at this behavioral economics concept called signaling. See, if you grew up watching money just completely disappear before the next paycheck arrives, your brain learns a very specific, hard lesson. Money is temporary. And hey, if money is temporary, the only logical thing to do is convert it into something visible, right? Something people can actually see before it vanishes. A nice, shiny car sitting in the driveway doesn't just disappear. It signals to the whole world, hey, look at me, I have made it.
So buying that fresh outfit or that luxury car, it really isn't vanity at all. It's actually a deeply ingrained survival mechanism. It is quite literally survival psychology wearing a designer jacket. Just imagine growing up in a household where money was a constant source of stress, where conversations at the dinner table were literally always about unpaid bills. Your brain formed this belief system that true wealth is for other people, and the only proof of success is what other people can visibly verify.
And that naturally leads us right into compensatory consumption. When a person who grew up with that kind of financial stress finally lands a good job and gets their first real paycheck, their brain immediately wants to prove something to their family, to their neighborhood, and honestly, most importantly, to that old version of themselves that used to sit at the dinner table worrying about money. The luxury product isn't about the item itself, not at all. It's about what it communicates. It's serving as a symbol to compensate for a deeply held feeling of just not being enough.
Moving on to Section 2, the power of the seed. How actual wealth views money differently.
I want you to think about money like a pocket full of seeds. If you're starving today, what do? You eat the seed for temporary relief. It's pure survival, and honestly, it makes complete sense in that moment. But if you already feel financially secure, you plant that seed, and that seed eventually grows into a massive tree that feeds you for decades. So poor spending habits are often just eating the seed because you feel like you absolutely have to, while rich habits are all about planting it so it can grow over time. Truly wealthy people just don't need to signal because their underlying security is already rock solid.
All right, Section 3, the scarcity mindset. How financial stress literally changes how you think.
Have you ever heard of the scarcity mindset study? It's famous, and it revealed something absolutely fascinating. When people feel they don't have enough, and that could be money, food, time, whatever, their mental bandwidth physically decreases. I mean, wow. Financial stress literally impairs your ability to think long-term, plan ahead, and resist impulsive decisions. It forces the brain into this intense, short-term survival mode where snap decisions, like buying a luxury item just to feel good for a split second, actually feel totally rational.
Think about it. When you are living paycheck to paycheck, money causes sheer panic. You're just trying to survive the week. You simply aren't thinking about what your net worth is going to look like in 5 years. Now compare that to someone who grew up with financial security. They view money simply as a tool to be managed and grown over the long haul. This is exactly why the invisible inheritance of money psychology, that mindset you inherit from your environment, is infinitely more powerful than the actual dollars sitting in your bank account right now.
Which perfectly tees up Section 4, the power of stealth wealth. Identity tied to being, not looking. Here's the deal. Luxury items give you that immediate, powerful feeling of wealth, but they actually consume your future by depreciating the exact second you buy them. Assets, on the other hand, they build your future. We're talking rental properties, a stock portfolio, a business. These are the things that literally grow while you are fast asleep. The truly wealthy buy these assets because their core identity is not tied to looking wealthy,
It's completely tied to actually having wealth.
And this brings us to the whole concept of stealth wealth. The reality is that truly wealthy people often look the most ordinary. Why? Simply because they have absolutely no psychological need to prove their success to anyone else. Remember our Camry driver from earlier? She operates entirely on stealth wealth. Her financial security isn't on display in a driveway for the neighbors to see. It's quietly sitting in a brokerage account or maybe in real estate equity. She might have a net worth that completely dwarfs our BMW drivers, but you would never, ever know it from the outside. And you know what? That is exactly the point.
Okay, let's wrap this up with Section 5, rewriting your money story, moving from performing to building. The truth is, nobody is born knowing how to build wealth. So how do we actually rewrite these invisible scripts? Well, the next time you feel that pull to buy something expensive that you know you don't really need, I want you to pause. Just pause for a second and ask yourself a deeply personal question. Am I buying the thing or am I buying the feeling? Trust me, the honest answer to that single question is going to reveal more about your true money psychology than any budgeting app ever could.
To actively change this trajectory, it all starts with awareness. You have to recognize those emotional spending triggers the moment they happen. And from there, you've got to shift your identity to see yourself as a real wealth builder. Because if you don't change how you see yourself first, those new habits, they just won't stick. Then you start small. Look, you don't need a massive real estate empire on day one. A small monthly investment in an index fund, or even just taking time to develop a new side skill, that acts as an asset. Making your money work for you, even just a little bit at first, starts to completely rewire how your brain perceives it.
So I'll leave you with this. The single most powerful financial decision you will ever make is realizing you don't need to look wealthy anymore because you are too busy actually becoming it. You absolutely have the power to rewrite your story regardless of whatever financial environment you grew up in. So go take a look at your own bank statement this month. Are your purchases just trying to convince everyone else you've made it? Or are they quietly building a reality where you actually have?